deserve to be in a happy, healthy, wholesome relationship where somebody wakes up every day and chooses you, and you are a priority. You are the pink starburst. You're not the yellow starburst. You're not the red starburst. You're the motherfucking pink starburst, and you need to own that and embody that, period. Every time I drink one of these, it's just never a good night, ever. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. And if you are not new, girl, you already know what time it is. We're getting into a motherfucking story time Saturday today. This is a continuation from my last story time of falling in love with a master manipulator. I did leave you guys on a little bit of a cliffhanger, a little bit meaning a lot. And this story is really going to get into just the bones of everything, okay? Me finally meeting Stefan, falling in love with him, the huge telenovela downfall that was me and Stefan. Now, let me tell you, okay? This story, now normally I don't script any of my YouTube videos. I strictly just come on here and I like remember the trauma and I talk about it. Girl, you better stay in because I don't got time for my nippies to be out in these streets. No ma'am. So I don't script literally any of my story times. I just come on here and I tell them just as I remember them to you guys, and we kind of just like live in the moment. But for this story time, there's so many details. That's why I had to be broken up into two parts. And when I tell you guys that I didn't remember a lot of the details from the story until I went into my handy dandy MacBook, okay? If you guys don't know, you can delete text from your phone, but they can save on the MacBook if you put the proper settings. So you can have text in there from like years ago and they will stay in your MacBook. So I was going on there like scrolling through the text and I was like, oh my god, I forgot so many of these details. I'm so happy I broke up this story time, otherwise it wouldn't have been as good. And when I tell you guys, like 8 pages of notes. This is how much detail, because I cannot forget anything, okay? When I tell you I had to analyze Keating, like literally like put my laptop down, type in certain dates, compare notes, find out the logistics of what happened here and here and here. Like, I literally felt like I was on the Keating 5. Like, I literally felt like I was on How to Get Away with Murder. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video because it took a lot of work. And normally you don't take a lot of work, but it took a lot of work, so please don't let it flap. I hope you guys have your snacks, have your drinks, have anything. I can't open this anymore because, by the way, first time this has happened, all 10 nails are on. I don't want to hear anything. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me sad, nothing. Don't forget before we start to give this video a huge thumbs up. Also hit that big subscribe button and join my Coda Crew family. We'd love to have you, and turn your post notifications on, clicking the bell icon, because YouTube likes to play everybody and not ever put my videos out there. So please do that. Also, please subscribe. 50% of you guys are not subscribed. Why? It's free. You help a sister out. I keep producing content. This is a win-win relationship. Let's get into the video. Wow, that was a very short intro. I'm very proud of myself. Cheers, guys. You guys like my only friends, literally.
It's been a minute since we last kicked. And by the way, just got in town, and I won't let cumulus clouds all in the sky.
So to piggyback off of my last story, we left off where basically I was sitting on my mom's front porch for Thanksgiving because she had COVID or she was sick or something like that, and we were kind of just like talking through the window. I dropped off her food and Stefan had texted me and told me for the first time that he loved me. Now keep in mind, we had not met in person yet, okay? We had a pretty good friendship like over like text and like the phone and things like that. And yeah, he had basically told me for the first time that he loved me, and I was just like, oh my god. Now, let me also backtrack really quick. A few months before this happened, I want to say it was September or October, I was getting tired of the back and forth with Stefan and like us being like, oh yeah, we're gonna hang out, and then it never happening, and having basically this like telenovela love story over text message, right? So I finally got the balls and was like, look, I like you. I know you like me too. What are we gonna do here? Are we gonna make it work? Are we gonna try for something? Like, what are we gonna do? And he sent me this whole text that was like so big you literally had to click on it, and he was just explaining, he's like, I really like you. I definitely could see me like falling for you. I think we'd have great potential, but unfortunately right now, like, I'm really focused on working on myself. I really want to buy a house. I want to further my career, blah blah blah, X, Y, and Z, just saying all of these things that he wanted to do with his life, and that he felt like he would not be able to give me the proper time and attention that I deserve, so he felt like it wasn't the right time. I'm not telling you to wait for me, but like, if you basically like he wasn't telling me to wait for me, but like he was in a sense, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like so upset and devastated, but in my mind I was like, you know what, fine, no problem. I'm just going to keep moving forward and do what I gotta do now. So this is a key part of the story. So remember in September he told me he could not be with me because he was focused on buying a house, because he was focused on himself, X, Y, and Z. Remember that detail, get a notepad or something, because it's very important. So when I got that text, I was just like, oh my God, like what in the actual, like what is going on? And so we kind of were conversating and we were just catching up on things. Now during this time, Elijah ended up texting me because I remember told him like I was done, I couldn't do it anymore, it was a done deal, like we just needed to be over, like this was toxic. I felt like he was emotionally manipulating me and I just couldn't do it anymore, right? So this was Thanksgiving, okay? He threatened again to himself, right? And so I got like really worried, and I was just like, oh my God, like I need to like go over there and just make sure he's okay. Like I ended up going over to his house and basically just making sure like mentally he was okay before I left, and making sure that he wasn't going to do anything that he would regret, and you know, just like speaking positive affirmations over him and things like that, just to make sure that he was good. And I ended up leaving. I think when I left he thought that that was me caring so much to the point where I wanted us to like be together, when I had clearly already explained to him that I felt like our relationship had just needed to come to an end. Mentally I was checked out so long ago, and I just knew in my heart this wasn't the right relationship for me. Because this was like the second time he had done this, like I remember I told myself, I was like, I need to just cut him off completely, because like this is bad. Like you can't emotionally manipulate somebody into wanting to be with you. That's just not how things work. At the end of the day, we all have free will, and if somebody says that they don't want to be with you anymore, that's their choice and their decision. I felt like he wasn't respecting me, wasn't respecting my boundaries, and so because of that I just knew that I had to cut him off completely. Stefan and I slowly started to build our friendship back up, and eventually over the next like month, I would say, we really started to just pick it up exactly where we left off. And it was literally like we never stopped talking. We talked from sun up to sun down, talked about everything under the sun, got to know each other even more. And finally he was just like, okay, like I need to see you. Like this has been going on for almost a year now, like I need to see you. And during this time he was actually being super nice, and like I would be at the mall and like he'd be like, oh, what you doing? I'd be like, oh, I'm at the mall, and he'd like cash out me money and be like, here, go buy Aubrey a present, or like go buy Aubrey something, or like here, go get lunch on me. And he hadn't even met Aubrey yet, or myself. I just remember I felt just like, oh my God, like that's so sweet, like nobody's ever like done that for me before. Or I'd get home from working like a late shift, because Wednesdays were my late days, and so I'd get home and he'd be like, oh, like don't cook, like don't worry about it, you had a long day, here, like order pizza, here's, you know, money. Just being really nice, very sweet, very attentive. And that really like caught me in, because I've always said like I want somebody who's like a provider, because I felt like in most of my relationships I'm like more of like the masculine one, where it's like I make the most money, I make all of the decisions, I lead, and I feel like I'm so tired of leading, and for once I want to be led. And like I kind of cracked the code with that like a year ago, where I was like, this is why my relationships don't work, is because I'm with men who are not like masculine men, like, or I'm more in my masculine energy and I don't feel safe enough to be in my feminine energy. And the one thing about Stefan is like he was a provider. That man worked so hard. So we're talking about our schedule, and he's like, well, you know, I'm off this day, I'm not off this day, and also every Tuesday I usually drink with my sister. You know, I'll go to my mom's house, we'll all hang out, we'll listen to music, eat food, you know, have like tequila and things like that. Food and tequila, two of my love languages. I was like, I'm in, let's do it. So he set a day for me to go there. This was a Monday and we were having this conversation, which means that we were gonna be hanging out tomorrow, bitch, okay? The person that I have been waiting to see for the past like literal like 8-9 months of my life, I'm going to see literally tomorrow, okay? I was internally having a panic attack. And that would be the first time that I'd be meeting him after this whole long, like almost year of just texting all the time, of, you know, this back and forth, him being with this girl and then me being with this guy, and then us being single and wanting to meet, but then it would never work, and then we would just go back to those people. Like it was just a long time coming, and I was so excited. So Tuesdays Aubrey was usually off, and we had a routine where we would go get lunch together, then we'd go to kids club, which is like a place in the mall. And I remember throughout like the whole day he was just texting me, he's like, I can't wait to see you, like X, Y, and Z, like I'm so excited, asking me like what kind of drinks do you want, can I get you food, what's your order at this place, can I bring it, I want to make sure that you're good, I want to make sure that you're fed, like being super sweet, super attentive, and just like I felt like he like just like really like wanted to take care of me, you know? Actually like near like Christmas. It was like Christmas season. I want to say it was like the first or second week of December. So I'd taken my daughter and her best friend to go see the Christmas lights. We were driving around, seeing all the pretty lights, having such a great time. And then I had taken them to McDonald's to eat. And then I had dropped her best friend off home. And then I had dropped Aubrey off. My dad was going to actually no, I put her to sleep, and then I was waiting for my dad to just like come home, and then I was gonna go and meet Stefan for the first time. Now I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. I was really nervous because I was like, I feel like I know him because we talk so much, but that connection over a phone versus in person are two different things. And also normally like you start talking to somebody for a couple months, then it's like, okay, it's time to meet my family, and you go and you do that. No, I was going to be meeting not only him but his family all on the same night, so I was very nervous. Started driving. His mom's house was about 30 minutes from me. Where I live, everything is 30 minutes. That was like nothing. So I start basically driving over to his house, and the whole time I'm just like nervous. I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. And then I get to the house and I park and I text him and I'm like, hey, I'm here. And he's like, oh great, I'm gonna come out and meet you and like walk you in and everything. And I'm just like, oh my god, like my heart is like beating so freaking fast because like I've never seen him in person before. Like I don't think you guys understand. It's like just so many nerves, right? So I park my car, take the keys out of the ignition, and I go and I start to walk up to him, and I see him coming out of his mom's house, and my heart just like sinks, and I'm just like, oh my god, like I just already knew. I was like, I'm gonna fall in love with this man. Like I just already freaking knew it. He hugged me, and oh my god, it was like all my nerves just like melted away. Like all my nerves just melted away. And oh my god, he smelled so good. He smelled so good. That's like my one thing about a guy is when you smell really good, that just like locks me in. Like I love the way that a guy smells. And I remember we walked into his mom's house and he introduced me to his mom, to his sister. She had these cute little dogs, and he had my order. I don't remember, he got me some tacos and he had my order there, and he was like, here, like you need to eat right now. You're gonna eat before we start drinking. You're not gonna start drinking until you eat that whole thing. Immediately I fell in love with his family. We started playing Uno. We started playing games. We were like blasting Spanish music. We were having some tequila, just like dancing around, having a good time. And I immediately just like fell in love with them. Like it was like I knew them. Like I always say this about him, like the minute that I met him, and he agrees, I feel like I knew him from like a past life or something. His mom like used to like make little like bows and stuff and little like trinkets, and she was giving me stuff to take home to Aubrey. She was like just like literally the sweetest woman in this whole entire world. His sister, I freaking loved her so much. She was so funny and so vibrant and so just amazing in so many ways, and I just very quickly developed a really like good relationship with them. Me, him, and his sister were like, ooh, like let's watch TV, let's watch a movie. So we put some popcorn in, made some cookies, watched a movie, and then his sister ended up going upstairs and he's like, hey, have you ever watched Vampire Diaries before? And I was like, no, I actually haven't. Y'all know, if you are an OG on this channel, that I love Vampire Diaries. Hence the reason why, oh my god, wait. I just realized he was the person that got me into Vampire Diaries, and I'm naming him Stefan. If he ever sees this video, he's gonna know it's about him. I'm sorry. It's like, okay, well, no, like you gotta see it. This is like the best like TV series ever. You're gonna absolutely fall in love with it. And we watched a good like 5 episodes. We stayed there at his mom's house until 5 o'clock in the morning, watching Vampire Diaries, just talking, literally just talking the whole entire time. I'm hearing his life story, he's hearing about mine. We're just like cracking jokes like here and there, and it's just like literally just like I'm talking to like a best friend of mine that I've literally known from lifetimes beyond this. After that, we were kind of just like looking at each other and we're like, oh my god, it's fucking 5 o'clock in the morning. Like he had to work the next day. I felt so bad. So it's like, yeah, let's go home now. So he ends up walking me out to my car, giving me a hug, and that's where we shared our first kiss. And when he kissed me, I felt fireworks throughout my whole entire body. I literally remember I went on Twitter. I deleted it because I was so embarrassed, but I went on Twitter and I just put like wow with like those little like eyes. And I remember I was like waiting for my car to warm up because it was so cold outside. Anytime I left the house, it was freezing, and like I dreaded like the ride home because it was so cold. And I remember just like putting like wow, and like I just drove home with like the biggest smile on my face. I was like, oh my god, like finally, like I knew, as I was saying in my previous story time, I knew the minute that we met that it was going to be instant chemistry, instant fun. This became very quickly our normal Tuesday routine. Every single Tuesday was the same thing. I'd go to his house, we would play games, we would watch movies, we would drink, we would eat, we would just literally stay up to like 4 o'clock in the morning just talking about life and getting to know each other, and it was so much fun. I tweeted the other day about this, and I said, like, someone I used to date, me, him, his family used to just like hang out all the time, and we would play games and drink and just stay up to like crazy hours of the night. And it's like, sometimes you don't realize when you're in a moment that it's ending, right? Like sometimes when you're in a moment and it's so good, you don't realize if it's beginning, if it's in the middle, or if it's ending. You don't know. You have no idea. At one point, we played with our friends outside for the last time. At one point, we all went back into our houses and we're like, yeah, you know, see you guys tomorrow. And that tomorrow just never came. And then we stopped playing in the middle of the streets. We stopped renting our scooters. We stopped getting into water fights. We stopped swinging at the park, right? At one point in your life, you could be in the best mode of your life and you don't know when it's the last day. Appreciate every single moment. That's what this taught me. I loved his family still to this day. Love his family so much. They treated me as if I was one of their own. They welcomed me in their home with open arms. They were so good to me. And one thing about me is that, if you guys don't know, it's really just like me, my mom, and Aubrey, and my dad, and like my mom's boyfriend. Like that's it. I'm not close with any of my family. I have 3 brothers, but we don't really communicate at all. And that's why people don't even know that I have siblings, because I don't talk about it. Like I'm not close to my family. So I felt like, you know, for the first time I was meeting somebody and their family like loved me so much. And I felt like I was like just like falling in love with him even more, because I'm like, oh my god, if this was like a forever thing, I would be so happy. It made me fall in love with him 10 times more. And he was good to me too. Anytime that we ever hung out, I didn't lift a finger. If my wine glass was running empty, he'd go to the fridge and he'd pour it for me. I didn't pay for anything. He always would buy me food, buy me just like anything that I needed. I would literally be out and he'd be like, oh here, you're going Christmas shopping here. I'm gonna cash up you some money, get something for Aubrey. Like just the nicest, sweetest things that anyone's really ever done for me. Just so generous and thoughtful. Like he'd be the type where it's like, if he's out like at the store and like sees something that I would like, he would get it and be like, here, like I was thinking about you and got this for you. But at the same time, so affectionate, so thoughtful, so kind. Like all of the love languages literally wrapped into one. And at the time I was working at the crusty, dusty, rusty, musty chiropractor, and I was so miserable, and like I wanted to get out of it so bad, and he was just like my great escape. Like I just felt like it doesn't matter what happens, it doesn't matter how life gets or how life is, like I have Stefan and he supports me and he loves me and he's a great person, and like now we finally met and this is all falling into place and like everything is just so perfect and in sync, and like we had to get here, we had to go through all these things in order to get here. Stupid. So Christmas Eve came, I remember he FaceTimed me and was like, hey, does Aubrey like LOL dolls? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna get her this like huge LOL thing. He got her like this huge like literally out to here LOL thing where you opened it, there was confetti, there was a bunch of freaking dolls, and like she was obsessed with it. Literally, it's a huge bath bomb. Like it was everything she loved all wrapped into one. And then Christmas came and he spent time with his family, I spent time with mine, and then at night I ended up going over to his house. His mom had gotten me a gift, he got me a gift. So December comes and goes, you know, New Year's comes and goes, and we are going to get into January now. And this is where that quote, if it feels like it's too good to be true, it probably is, comes into play. So January rolls around and my dad ends up getting COVID, and so me and Aubrey, you know, we take care of our stuff, we go, we get tested, we're negative, and the doctor was like, you know what, you know, you're negative, you're not presenting any symptoms, so you're good to go, like you don't have to worry about it, you're good to go, etc. And so I leave the doctor's office, and in my best interest and everyone's best interest, me and Aubrey went to go stay at my mother's house for the week. Now, I did not have to take off of work, but I definitely told my boss that my doctor told me to take off of work because I was tired of working there. I was so done. It was such like a toxic work environment. I just did not want to be there for the life of me. So I'm just like, hey, sorry, can't come in for 10 days because my dad has COVID. Like, and she's like, oh, okay, like that's fine. Her husband, when he had COVID, she literally was still in the same house as him and was coming to work every single day. This is what I meant by this woman just did not care. But anyway, if you want to know about my crazy boss, go to my boss tried to scam me. So during those 10 days, I finally had time to just be still and to think about my life and where I wanted to go and things like that. And during this time is actually when I woke up one day and I looked at my YouTube, and this is when I wasn't even like consistent on YouTube. I was making videos like here and there. I was not a Storytime channel at all. I made one Storytime in August of 2020, and 7 months later in February of 2021, my shit blew up overnight. I literally woke up and one day it had 2,000 views, then it had 5, then it had 10, then it had 20. Like, it was blowing up out of nowhere, and you guys were like, oh my god, please make more story times, please make more story times, X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh my god, like what? Like, this is so random. This is like, this is just all happening at once, and this is crazy. And my podcast was doing really well, and I just was like happy. I feel like everything was just like coming together, you know? And I actually got an email saying that I was really close to being able to submit an application for my channel to be monetized. So one night we were talking about kind of like how my dad had COVID and things like that, and he brings up the time when he had COVID and I wasn't there for him, and I'm just like, what are you fucking talking about? I remember like every day I would text him and I would like check in on him and see if he needed anything. This is before I'd even met him, okay? Like, I was just like checking in, seeing if he needed anything, blah blah blah. And he's like, no, like no, like it wasn't just you, like nobody was there for me, nobody even like really cared, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I almost said his real name. I'm like, Stefan, like what are you talking about? Like, I literally was there for you. I was texting you every single day. What else would you want me to do? Don't remember what I called her in that story time, but we're just gonna give her a name of Karina. Why not Karina? So the stuff with Karina gets brought up because to this day he still says, he's like, because in my opinion I'm like, dude, like you were the problem. You were the one that was talking to me, trying to develop like a thing with me, and then you were talking to her on the side, still in love with her, trying to get her to like choose you. Because I was actually going through my MacBook of text messages from that time of like basically 2 years ago. He was calling me baby, he was asking me if I ate yet, he was asking me if I needed anything. Like, he was like saying like he like missed me, like you were hanging out with her, trying to get her and you to be a thing, but texting me that at the same time. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I was basically saying that to him. I'm like, you were the one that was in the wrong. And he's like, to this day he says like, no, the reason why we didn't get together sooner is because of you, because you got a man. And I'm like, no, 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 let's make this clear. I wanted you, point blank period. You were too busy chasing after her, doing what you did with her, and I wasn't waiting around for it anymore. So I decided to give my time, energy, and effort to somebody that was actually wanted me. That's your fault. You fumbled the bag. You didn't come and scoop me up quick enough. Sorry, like I'm not waiting for anybody. His thing was that him and Karina were never official. They were never officially together. But I went and I got a man and I was official with him, right? And he's like, I mean, I was never official with her, like you could have waited, X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter though, you were like in love with her, like everybody could see that with their eyes. Like, why would I sit around and wait for that? Like, I'm not an option, I'm a priority, period. But his own mom said that he was wrong. She was like, no, he was wrong for that, like that wasn't right what he did between the two of you. So that kind of got me into the mode where I'm just like, damn, like you don't take accountability for anything, huh? Like, there was a couple red flags. That was one of them. The second one was, we were talking one day about like posting on Instagram, right? And I was telling him how like, oh, like I love when I'm in a relationship, like showing off my man and things like that. And he's like, yeah, no, like I would never, like if I had a girlfriend, like I would never like post her on Instagram. And I'm like, why? And he's like, oh, because you know, like guys are thirsty, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, but don't you want people to know that like that's your girl? Like, don't you want to like show her off? And he's like, no, like I would never have a girl on my Instagram. He would often tell me things like, I really, really like you. I have like such like deep feelings for you. I wish I could express like how much, like I wish I could tell you, but I can't. But like hopefully one day that like I can. Like I can't let you know too much. Like, this thing where when they meet a girl they actually really like and could potentially see themselves with, they give them what they like need and what they want, but not at like the full max capacity or full potential, because they're afraid of getting hurt. It's like, oh shit, if I'm vulnerable and I open myself up, there's a chance this girl could either take advantage of it or leave me, and I don't want that to happen because then I'm gonna be her. So I'm gonna let her in, but I'm not gonna let her in 100%. And then there was this one time where he was saying like, yeah, you know, you can't let people know like 100% how you feel about them, or you can never give your 100% all, because then there's like a power dynamic and people think that they're like super powerful and they use that against you. And I was like, well, no, it's not about power. Like power is always going to be there. It's the person behind the power, because a good person wouldn't take advantage of somebody loving them and caring about them. That's what a bad person would do. That girl broke his heart, and it messed him up for life, and he was just never the same after that, honestly. And I was basically paying for mistakes that I didn't create, and he was essentially bleeding on me even though I didn't cut him. There was this one day where, you know, it was a normal Tuesday, so we had a routine. So I'm on my way there, and I get there, and normally he would come outside and he would like walk me in, right? He'd meet me in the front, he'd walk me in. And this day he was like, I was like, hey, I'm here. And he's like, nah, just come in. Like, just come in, it's fine, just come in the door. And I was like, oh, okay, like didn't think anything of it. So I come in, and instantly I know something's wrong. Instantly I can feel it, the energy in the room is thick, it's weird, it's off. So I go in, and I say hi to him, and we sit down, and we begin our normal routine of like, you know, taking out the Uno cards, playing, things like that. And he's just being weird. He's being so weird. He's not being like affectionate towards me like he always is. He's not like cuddling up with me like he normally is. He's not, you know, cracking jokes like he normally is. Like, he seems sad, but he also seems like annoyed. And I can feel it. Like, that energy, like the thickness in that room, you could cut that shit with a knife. Like, it was weird. And I kept asking him, I was like, are you good? Like, what's wrong? And he was like, I'll tell you later, I'll tell you later. And then his sister went and played a song, and it was, I don't remember what song it was, but it was like a heartbreak song. And she's like, hey bro, this one's for you, ha ha ha. And I'm like, what? Like, why would it be for him? Like, we're doing good. Like, what I was so confused. Later on, when everybody had, you know, gone upstairs like they normally do, we were sitting down, and I finally was like, yo, what's going on? And apparently Karina had ended up coming to the house because I guess when they used to hang out, Karina and his sister had kind of like developed a little bit of like a friendship, you know? And it wasn't anything serious, it wasn't anything crazy, but they developed a liking to one another. So I guess Karina had gotten her a Christmas present, and it had been a few months since she had gone to the house or anything like that. Like, it had been quite some time, like probably like I want to say like I don't know, like 3 months or something like that. So when she had come over, I guess nobody let Stefan know, like, hey, she's here, she's coming by, whatever. And it was his day off, so he decided to go over to his mom's house and kind of like just surprise everybody and see everybody and hang out with them. And so he didn't know that she would be there. So he comes and he opens the door, and he sees Karina sitting on his couch, the girl who like literally ran through him, broke his heart, X, Y, and Z, and he's just like so caught off guard. So I guess he had seen her, and that happened, and it just threw the rest of his day off. And I just knew I don't know what it was, but I knew in that moment that I lost him. I knew I lost him. Like, I don't know what it was, but I just knew that this was the beginning of the end. And I was like, oh. Things got so quiet and so awkward, and I was just like, oh. And I was like, well, do you still have like feelings for her? Because I don't care what anybody says, nobody gets like that about someone they used to deal with unless they still have feelings for them. I could see one of my exes right now and not feel a damn thing, like, and I'd be good. I would only feel that way if I still had feelings for that person. And he reiterated like, no, 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 it's not that I have feelings for her. It didn't bring up old stuff. It's just, it's the disrespect because of what she did. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what do you mean what she did? What did she do? Because in my mind, I'm thinking this girl's been out of the picture for quite some time, right? He ends up going into detail, and he ends up telling me, well, you know, like, I think it was like maybe like September, like October, something like that. Like, I think it was September. You know, me and her were doing that back and forth thing, and we finally decided that we were going to take things seriously and see where things went. And I guess what had happened was they were serious for maybe like a week. You know, she was saying to him like, oh, I want you to meet my friends, X, Y, and Z. And, you know, like they were like getting serious and like talking about actually like taking things to the next level. And then I guess, I don't know what happened, but he said it was like night and day, where again, the same thing happened, where she essentially like ghosted him, stopped talking to him, completely left him hanging. And then her birthday was coming up, and they were not together, weren't talking anything, but he still wanted her to know he cared about her. So he had sent her an edible arrangement, and I guess like she never really said like thank you or anything, which is like messed up because edible arrangements are hella expensive. And 2 days later she posted that she had a man. So he was like crushed after that, but I didn't know any of that. And that information was not supposed to come out. He let that slip, and I could tell the minute that it left his lips that he knew he fucked up. Because remember, this is September. But I thought in September, remember I told you guys, remember this detail, when I had texted you confessing my feelings for you, asking you if things could work out, if we could try things, you told me that you were so busy because you wanted to buy a house and to work on yourself, that you didn't have time for a relationship, yet you're trying to be in a relationship with this girl. If 2 + 2 is 4 and 5 + 5 is 10, what the fuck is this? So literally, the minute it left his lips, he knew he fucked up. I was not supposed to hear that information. So now I'm like, I thought this girl's been out of the picture for some time, like since like summertime, or at least like fall. But now I've been finding out that y'all were dealing with each other 2 months ago. Everybody knows, like, when you stop dealing with somebody that you fucking really love and care about, you don't move on just like that. It takes a long time to heal and move on before you can be with the next girl and actually treat her as someone that you want to be with rather than a replacement. And I feel like at the end of everything, I do think that he really did like me, but I think that he was looking at me to be a replacement, right? Or to transfer his pain. I asked him so many times, are you sure? Are you sure that you don't still have feelings for her? Because most people who feel this way when they see their, I wouldn't even call her an ex, they were never officially together, but someone that they were like literally in love with head over heels. Normally when you see that person, you feel this way, it means that there's residue. There's still feelings there that you have not yet confronted and healed from. You haven't felt your feelings from that relationship or whatever it was. You just kind of like swept it under the rug and then came to me a month later. Like, there's residue there. And he reassured me over and over again, no, I don't. It's the disrespect that she would do that to me and then just pop up in my family's house thinking that it's cool. And I even remember that night I had gotten home and he had texted me and he was like, hey, did you get home safe? And I said, yeah. And he's like, thank you so much for coming. And I'm really sorry for the way that I was acting when you came. And we even had a whole text discussion the next day of him reassuring me, it's not that I have feelings for her, Dakota. It's not that. It's the disrespect. The last time I saw him, I remember he texted me, was like, hey, do you want to come over to my mom's tonight? We're just gonna hang out. And I was like, yeah. So normal routine, I get there, we're chilling. Aubrey had actually just lost a tooth and he was like, here, make sure to, you know, give her this money for the tooth fairy. But when we were hanging out, something felt different. I couldn't tell what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it, but something felt different. Something was weird. Something was off. And we were watching TV and we actually both ended up like passing out on the couch together and waking up and we're like, oh my God, we gotta go. Like, we gotta go home. So he walked me out to my car and he hugged me really tight and he hugged me for longer than he normally would. And he just was like embracing me in his arms. I didn't know it in that moment, but he was saying goodbye to me. And I didn't know it in that moment. If I could go back in time and know what I know now, I wish I would have, in that moment, just like hugged him a bit tighter, right? Or made more out of the time that we had. But I wasn't aware of it, but in that moment, he was saying goodbye to me. So he hugged me, he kissed me. And he said goodbye, and he said, you know, drive home careful. He said, I'll see you soon, which is weird because normally he wouldn't say that. He'd be like, oh, I'll see you like Thursday, or I'll see you tomorrow, or like I'll talk to you when you get home. But he said, I'll see you soon. And I was like, okay, yeah. Didn't think anything of it, and I just left. Next day, we were texting, and we were just talking about how our days were, and he was like, oh, I'm so tired, you know, like we fell asleep on the couch last night, and like we woke up so late, and I was like, yeah. And then I remember I was like, oh, like I miss you. And he's like, I miss you. He goes, miss you too. And then I said, am I going to see you this weekend? And he goes, I don't know. It's a mystery. We'll see. And I was like, and to most people you'd be like, oh, Dakota, he was joking. But like, you know when you're fucking with someone heavy, how they talk. So I just read that and I was like, what the fuck? Like, our communication got really bad after that. And it was almost as if things went right back to the beginning in 2020 when one day he would text me at like 6 a.m. be like, good morning, beautiful. And then I wouldn't hear from him until like 7 p.m. that night, or sometimes like 11 the next day. Or one day he'd be like super attentive, super like communicative, and then the next day I wouldn't hear a single fucking thing from him. And like I said, when you're fucking with someone heavy, you know how they talk, you know their mannerisms, you know what they will do, what they won't do. And I just knew something was off. I knew something was wrong. And I brought it up. I was like, hey, like, you know, communication is really important to me. And I feel like lately there's been no communication. And, you know, if we could work on that, that would be great. And he's like, okay, yeah, thanks for bringing it to my attention. I appreciate that, and I'll work on it. never changed. And we weren't seeing each other either. Like a week had gone by, I think, and I hadn't seen him. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, we normally see each other like 2-3 times a week. Like, this is weird. Something there he wasn't telling me. Like I said, when he had told me about how Karina had stopped by his mom's, I just knew in that moment I lost him that it was just like, fuck, like things were too good. Things were going too good to be true. He would like have these days where he would like literally ignore the shit out of me and not answer me. But then, and his red receipts were on, by the way. He'd like leave me on red. And then like he'd be on Twitter or he'd be on Instagram or he'd be on Facebook, like all over social media, but he can't answer a simple text. Takes 2 fucking seconds. Or listen, I have days where I wake up and I don't want to talk. Just fucking say that. It just severely went back to that pattern of up and down, and weeks were going by. I wasn't seeing him. We were barely communicating. And I just was so annoyed because I'm like, wow, we worked this hard to just go back to how it used to be. He loved anime, so I wanted to surprise him. I went on Google and I looked up like anime lamps, right? And I found this website that made like custom anime lamps, and I was gonna surprise him with it. And we weren't talking that much, and the anime lamp was just like fucking sitting there collecting dust. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go drop it off at his mom's, leave it outside, text his sister and tell her it's there, and then he can go pick it up, right? This time I hadn't heard from him in 2 days. Like, and that was the longest we've ever gone without talking, like literally 2 days. So I was just like, nah, like I'm not stupid. I can catch a hint. I know it's probably over. I've tried to communicate. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. He ended up going to his house. And I remember I was like so nervous because I didn't want to tell her I was there. I didn't want anybody knowing I was there. I just wanted to drop it off and leave. And I knew if I pulled up to the house, like God forbid he pulled up and saw my car. So I parked on like a side street and I like watched the house for 2 minutes. Nobody was coming out. I ran over there and I put it down and then I ran back to my car. I felt like I was doing like a G.I. mission, literally. And I texted his sister and I was like, hey girl, I just want to let you know I left a lamp outside. It's for Stefan. Can you please make sure he gets it? He ends up texting me and he's like, and I know the only reason why he texted me was because I dropped that lamp off. And he's like, hey, I'm really sorry for the lack of communication. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I'm not as attentive or why I'm not, you know, putting in as much effort. I guess I just have a lot going on, you know, mentally. He's like, I really haven't like seen my family. I haven't even really like gotten like a haircut or like gone out and seen my friends. I literally just go to work and come home. Like I feel like I'm just like not, you know, the best mentally right now, X, Y, and Z. And he sent me like a whole thing. And the thing is, like, I understand that. That's the thing, right? Like, I get it. But, like, say something. You know what I mean? Like, tell me something. Like communicate. But I also knew deep down that there was more to it. And so I ended up, you know, messaging him, telling him, like, you know, hey, I get it. I get it, man. Like, I get that, you know, you wake up and you have mental health days and you may not feel the best and you're going through something and, you know, I get that. But don't take for granted my communication. Don't take for granted me as a person or my time, because my time is very valuable, and just don't take it for granted, you know? So we talk and then I'm like, oh, by the way, I dropped off a lamp for you at your mom's house. It's a surprise. It's like a really cute anime lamp. And I was like, I gave it to, you know, your sister, so she's gonna make sure you get it. And he goes, oh, thank you, but why didn't you just wait until you saw me? Maybe because you haven't talked to me in almost 3 days. You've been so wishy-washy, up and down, hot and cold, left and right, that I don't even know what's going on right now. So yeah, why didn't I just wait until I saw you the next time? So after that, things just got a lot worse, and I remember I was packing up to go back home, and I had seen my friend Tori that day, and I was talking to her, and I was telling her the whole dynamic, and I was telling her, you know, I don't get it. At first, he was so amazing. Everything was great. I was telling her all like the little things that he did for me, and she's like, girl, I don't think it's another girl. I don't think that it's, you know, or Karina or anything like that. I think that he's just going through something, and you got to give him space. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Turner, may you please pull up text messages from January 26, 2021 at 3:21 p.m. with the plaintiff. I can't for the life of me find it, but there was something that I had texted to him and he wrote back and it was like pretty rude. And I was just kind of like, ew. Ew.
Ew. Second of all, ew.
I was looking for a reason to walk away because I love this man so much. I couldn't do it on my own. So I needed a clear and concise answer as to what was going on. Logical people would say, hey, I still have feelings for this girl, or hey, I have a lot going on. I don't think that it's right for us to be in to be working towards a relationship or anything like that. But he knew if he said that I would be gone. So selfishly, he wanted to hold on to me and have me wait until he was done with whatever it was and just pull away from me and have me sit there and wait for him and think that that was okay, rather than just letting me know what it was. So I said to him that basically I can pick up on hints and that I respect the fact he needs space. I hope he gets through everything and that I'm here for him if he needs it. He said, I don't mean to come off as rude. I really don't want you to think I'm ignoring you for any malicious reason. I'm just out of focus. I don't want to fuck around and lose you for my lack of giving you the attention you deserve. I've just been going through a lot lately. Haven't seen my family, really haven't cut my hair, really haven't spoken to them at all, just depressed, honestly. And then I apologized.
Cut the cameras.
I told him, I owe you an apology as well. I've been adding unwanted pressure onto you due to me being upset from lack of communication.
Stupid.
And instead of trying to comfort and help you, which is extremely selfish, I really do apologize for that. I just overthink things and then get in my head and think you don't want to talk to me anymore. That's not your problem. That's something I have to work on and deal with. Don't worry about me, worry about getting better. I'll be okay. Take this time to focus on you. That's your #1 priority. I just love you and want you to be happy. You deserve happiness more than anybody I know. So then he says to me, I'll tell you about it in person. It's a lot of stuff. It's sort of annoying and inconvenient. I have to thank you for being such an understanding woman. Most people wouldn't understand and they would write it off as me being an asshole or rude. Thank you. I feel like shit for giving you the cold shoulder like that. It means a lot to me that you're there for me and that you show effort on your side. It's not fair the way I've been acting. I love you and you're the one that deserves happiness more than anyone. I said, don't worry about it. It's obviously not the right time. That's okay. It's life. It happens and I get it. Just worry about focusing on you being happy. That's all that matters. I'm all ears when you want to talk about it and I'd be more than happy to. Make sure you're taking vitamins, drinking water, go on a walk, get outside and get some sunlight. Love you too. And then he didn't answer for like hours. And so I was like, okay, good talk. And he's like, that love you was very dry.
Is it crack, cocaine, or meth you smoke? What type of drugs you want?
And I said, okay, so you're gonna neglect the text before that? Like the nice text that I just sent? Then he ignores me and goes, Dakota, when are you free? And then we start talking about like us being free and stuff like that and when we're gonna hang out. And then again, he stops answering me and leaves me on red for a day. And then I told him, it's actually probably the best if we don't hang out for a while. And he wrote back and was like, question mark, question mark. And I was like, it's just obvious that it's bad timing for you at the moment and I respect and understand that. I'm sure you've been feeling the same way too, but just don't want to confront it and neither do I. But it's just the reality. I'm understanding given everything you're going through, but seeing you would be hard because I clearly have feelings invested and I feel like every time I see you, my feelings grow stronger. This current situation is hurting me a lot. To see you and have my feelings expand and then the next day barely talk to you is not something I want to set myself up for. I don't want to keep feeling like this. Honestly, it's not fair to me. I'm not placing blame on you. I get your situation, but I see clearly you just don't have the mental energy to invest time into me at the moment. And I so get that, but there's only so much patience one person can have. I feel like I maxed out on my patience meter over the past year, to be transparent. It's just bad timing, and I guess that happens in life. I don't know. I've never believed that whole right person, wrong time thing, but I think that's what this situation is. It hurts, but it's life, I guess. I love you. I support you. I'm here for you. And he basically was just like, I get it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the best because I'm not, and I respect your decision. As much as I love and care for you, I can't ask you to sit here and rock with me if you're hurting yourself. I'm not trying to hurt you. I really do love you. I don't want to sit here and make you go through anything. I respect you and I'm sorry. I have no control over the things that have happened. Then basically he tells me what he was going through and I'm not going to talk about that because it's really personal. But he tells me that and basically I told him like I was so sorry for that and that I'm here for him and you know to not worry about me, to just work on himself. He tells me my feelings for you have not changed. Things just got tough on my end. I'm holding back a lot of anger and sadness. I don't want to bring that into your life. If you do happen to meet someone along the way and catch feelings, I won't stand in the way for it. I just want you to be happy. Wish you the best. And I'm like, why are you saying wish you the best as if we're not going to talk anymore? Like, what are you Like, why are you saying that? And the next day, his mom's dog died. So his mom's dog passed away. And if you have a dog, you know that's like literally like one of your children. So his family is going through a really hard time. I ended up sending his mom like a $100 edible arrangement to show her my condolences and just offer any support in any way that I can. I know you said that you don't really want to hang out, and I respect that decision, but like, I think I'm gonna go to my mom's tomorrow. I would really appreciate it if you would come. It would be nice to have you around, even if, you know, everyone's miserable. It would be good to like have you around. And I was like, oh, I'll be there, no questions asked, just let me know. So he told me that, and then the next day happens, and then he just like never tells me like, oh, hey, we're gonna go here at this time. And I asked him like, what's the plans? And he's like, yeah, I'll let you know. Never tells me anything. Obviously, he's going through what he's going through. I need to just take a step back. During this time, I'm not thinking like, oh, maybe it's because of Karina, or maybe it's because of this and that. I'm thinking like he's genuinely going through a lot of stuff. And there is times in life where that happens, where you're going through a bunch of stuff and you just don't have time to be with somebody because you're dealing with your own shit. Again, he just kind of like stops like talking to me, and I'm just like, all right, I'm not gonna chase you. Do what you gotta do. But then he starts texting me again, calling me love, calling me babe, telling me he misses me, like talking as if like we're back in like a situation again, right? And he would do that and then like not talk to me for 2 days. And then he would come back and be super attentive, talk to me, and then leave me hanging. Like he knew what he was doing, and that's why I'm calling him like a master manipulator, because he would do that. I was even going through one of our text messages during a time where we were like not a thing at all, and he would just like do things to like mess with my emotions. Like I remember he said to me, he was like, well, you know, if I pulled up that you would drop everything. So, or he'd be like, well, I know that you're still in love with me, so like stop trying to deny it. But like knowing that he doesn't want anything with me, like that's what I'm saying. Like he knew what he was doing. He would do little things where like we would like not be talking, even like present day, like send me a song or something like that, and then be like, oh, listen to this song, that's really good. And then we would just like talk, and then he would like drop like bombs, like flirt with me and like say little things or bring up the past, and then just like leave me hanging. It's like he does it. I call it his 2-month check-in, where every couple of months like he'll check in and see if he still has that pull on me, and then be like, okay, I can go back to what I was doing now, and then when I'm finally ready, I can finally come back to her. No, that's not how it works. I remember there's this one day where he said, can I ask you a question? And I said, yeah. And he goes, what do you think of me? Like in detail, like what do you think of me? And I sent him this like super long text, so long that you had to click on it, just in awe of him, going off about how great he is, how just wonderful he is, how thoughtful, how sincere, how handsome, how hardworking, how much of good energy he has, just going off, right? And he writes back to, he's like, wow, thank you so much. I needed to hear that. And you would think like when someone's telling you like those amazing things about yourself and giving you that validation, some like light bulb would be in your head where it's like, wow, this girl really fucking cares about me. Like I've put her through the ringer this past year, and she still is like in awe of me and like loves me and accepts me as I am, and gives me a safe space to be in this energy where I can feel vulnerable and talk to her and open up, and she's loyal and like but no. And again, it's just that up and down thing where he just ignores me, will be all over social media, won't be talking to me, X, Y, and Z. Even though like I've like let down boundaries where I'm like, dude, like this can't be a thing anymore, it's not the right time, will still talk to me as if we're together and then leave me hanging. And I just had enough. And then he texted me one morning and he's like, good morning, toots. And it was like 3 days that we hadn't even talked, and I just didn't even answer because I was like, I'm so over this, and like I have to put my feelings first, and I have to protect myself. I can't allow this to go on anymore. And then I want to say it was like maybe 3 days later, I was on Twitter and I saw that him and Karina were following each other again. And I was like, huh.
That's suspicious.
Interesting, because y'all had unfollowed each other months ago. And she did that horrible thing to you where you said she broke your heart, but you guys are following each other on Twitter again. I was so done in that moment. I was like, no. And the thing is that he knew. Because I'm not going to lie, you guys. I would like go on this girl's profile and like stalk her shit. This was when I was like very insecure. Now it's like that shit's not worth it, you know? I also know like who the fuck I am, right? But I was like self-comparing so much, and he knew like how much of a trigger she was for me, because it's basically that situation where it's like you're in love with someone but they're in love with somebody else and you're just waiting for them to like for them to get the fuck over it, and then it's like you finally have them, but then they go out and they see them and it's like, fuck, I'm still in love with her, I can't be with you type of thing, and they just crush you. And he knew, in his mind, he knew that that shit would crush me. In my mind, I'm like, okay, well, if they're following each other again, there had to have been some type of like conversation, some type of conversing, some type of something. And you can't talk to me because you're going through your mental stuff, but you could talk and have conversations with somebody who fucked you over multiple times, who embarrassed the shit out of you, who humiliated you, who took advantage of your time, your energy, and your love, and broke your heart not one, not twice, but 3 times. You could talk to her, but you can't talk to me. Interesting. I unfollowed him off of everything, off Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything. I was like, I have never felt so disrespected in my whole entire life. But he would be like looking at my stuff. Like he would like, so like I blocked him and then unblocked him, not because I wanted to block him, but because I didn't want him following me either. So I did that, and he would still look at my Instagram stories. He would still look at like everything, like even like my Snapchat and all that, but like never like asked me like what was wrong. And so finally one day I went to go add him back. I was like, this is fucking stupid, like whatever, like still like very hurt and heartbroken. And let me remind you, I was like very depressed after that happened because I loved this man so fucking much, and I feel like I went through so much to get him, and then I just lost him like that. I wrote him, I said, I told myself that I wasn't going to do this and send you a long text explaining myself and my feelings, but I'm not someone who can just leave a situation that I loved and cared for so deeply without a last conversation, or at least letting my side of everything out that way. There's no room for guessing, so here it goes. The past month has been absolute hell for me. I'm not blaming that on you at all. I'm literally just explaining my feelings, but I can't even begin to get you to understand how it feels to love someone so much and to all of a sudden one day have them completely switch up their communication and how they act towards you, with no communication, no explanation, nothing. Sure, I got one a few weeks later, but it took me initiating it and asking you what was up. And this isn't the first time that you did this to me, which makes the knife wound that much deeper, because you shouldn't ever put someone through the same pain twice. Or at least I can never picture myself doing that to you. At the end of the day, things started to change when, I almost said her real name, Karina showed up at your house. And I don't care what way you try to spin it, in my heart and body, I know that's when things started to change. And at the end of the day, I think you had leftover feelings for her and never dealt with them. And when she showed up, you were forced to confront them, which is fine. I just wish you would have been honest with me when I asked you if you did, because I already knew. I wasn't asking because I needed confirmation. I was asking because in my head I knew the answer was yes. But I just wanted to give you an opportunity to be honest with me that you still had feelings for her. Shit started changing before the depression even came place. You didn't put as much effort into anything anymore, and it's like all of those amazing things that made me so happy in the beginning weren't even around anymore. I noticed, but I continue to give you space because I love you enough to do that and know when something's wrong. Then when it got to the point where I would text you and not get a response for 6 hours or only hear from you 2 times a day, I knew it was coming to an end, and my heart knew it was coming. My heart was slowly breaking because I was trying so hard with everything within me to hold on to you or just make you aware that I wasn't going anywhere. I didn't want you to forget about me or how much love I have for you. You basically made it absolutely impossible for me. You barely spoke to me. I didn't see you for weeks, and things started to slip away, even though you would tell me you didn't want to lose me, and still here with your actions failed to live up with your words every time. It was probably the most confusing and depressing month for me. I'm not gonna lie. Every day I woke up wondering why things had to be this way, where they went wrong, what I could possibly do to not lose you, because the thought of losing you killed me. It killed every fiber of my body. But in the process, I lost myself completely. I can't explain to you the cosmic feeling I get when I see you. I know for a fact I met you in another lifetime, and that I've known you forever. It's a familiar feeling, yet safe, exhilarating feeling that I get when I'm with you. Doesn't matter where we are, what we're doing, your presence is enough. And I don't need anything else beyond that. And every time I saw you, my feelings would continue to grow. and develop, because when I say I love you, I don't mean it as I would say to a friend or just anyone. I mean it because I'm actually completely in love with you, and I would have done absolutely anything on this earth for you and anything to make you happy, even if that meant killing myself in the process in order to fulfill that, because you honestly meant everything to me in every single way. And there's no way on this earth that you don't know that. I make it so clear. I explain my feelings for you and show you with my actions all the time, because you're important to me and you're worth it. My final straw was the last 2 to 3 days of us communicating. I barely heard from you. It was like you didn't even care enough to carry on a friendship. Then I saw you added Karina back on social media. And again, that was it for me. That broke my heart, and somewhere in your mind you had to have known that. Seeing that would have killed me, because obviously you didn't just add her. A conversation had to have taken place, and it's like you can completely ignore me or go days without speaking to me, but you have enough energy and effort to fix things with someone who's literally broke you numerous times. But then you have someone who's head over heels in love with you, has nothing but good intentions for you, and cares for you more than anything, and you don't even have 5% of energy to send me a text back. That's when I saw where your priorities are, and it was just a sign for me to get a clean break from you. So yes, I unfollowed you. And then I had to block you, because even though I unfollowed you, I still would check on your socials, because going a day without knowing how you were, if you were happy, what were you doing, killed me. That's probably when I realized you don't feel the same, because you can go days without talking to me, knowing how I'm doing, or knowing what I'm doing. And also knowing that not speaking to you was killing me. You didn't care. I'm not saying you didn't care or love me, but you absolutely do not care or love me nearly to the capacity in which I do. And I think that's the problem all along, is that I've always loved you more. Imagine going one day without you made me sick, but you could go on a day without me, and it was never an issue. As much as it breaks my heart to confront that, it's the truth. I had to leave because it was killing me to try to hold on and stay. It was killing me to hold on to someone who was completely fine without me, and it still kills me even now. I'll probably always love you, wonder what you're doing, how you are, if you ate that day, if you're overworking yourself, taking care of yourself, sleeping, if you're happy. It's why you're someone I can't just be friends with, because there's too many feelings involved and too much love to even try and pretend that it's a possibility. I wish you the best. I hope you have a great life. All this probably never meant anything to you, and it's just something you're going to read and then continue to go on about your day. But it's everything I felt and needed to get off my chest. I hope you find happiness and love. Hope you see that you had somebody who was head over heels for you and was completely content with it just being you, and only had eyes for you and loved you completely and wholeheartedly. I hope you learn to let your walls down enough to let somebody fully in. Maybe in the next lifetime we'll get it right. Goodbye. And I sent that to him, and I didn't hear from him until a week later. He left me on red for a whole week after literally pouring my heart out to him. Later, he said this: I've been meaning to send this to you, but I can't figure out the right words for the right things to say. I've never come across somebody that can show me so much love, and someone that could lay out their feelings in the way that you do. I wanted to lay things out to you because I feel like you think I stopped communicating for a reason that is not valid. Me and Karina did at each other, but there was no discussion had. I felt in order for me to let go of whatever feelings were there, I had to come to terms with things and face it head on. That's what I did. No sense in being bitter over somebody who doesn't want you. The fact that I was hurt over her by seeing her showed that I did have feelings for her that I needed to let go of, and that's what I did. But that's not what brought on my lack of communication. That's not what made me go missing from your life and cut you out completely. So he does confront that he did do that, but then in the past he was like, no, it's not what I'm doing. And then he did tell me he didn't have feelings for her, but now he's saying seeing her did. So like, make it make sense. I'm sorry the way I handle things are unorthodox. It's not fair to you or anyone around me. I did not want you to think that I don't care about you. Just the amount of things that piled up were beyond my control. You don't deserve that. You're amazing. I should have taken your feelings into consideration before I shut you out. I truly am sorry. I don't want to see you hurt. I do love you more than you think. I want to see you happy because that's what you deserve. I'm not expecting you to reply, nor am I expecting forgiveness. I did hurt you, and I take accountability for that. I think about you every day. I check up on your socials to make sure that you're okay. I know what I've done to your feelings as a person is not something that someone should forgive, at least not right away. I do want to be around. I want to see your success. I want to see your happiness in any way that I can. You're a great person, a great mom, and a great friend. You have a good heart, and I hope that you know I'll always be watching over you no matter what happens. Keep thriving. Basically, after that, we stopped talking. And then my birthday had come up and he had texted me and he was like, hey, like, happy birthday, you know, I hope you're doing well, like, I miss you and things like that. And then I had like posted like a video on TikTok of like a little like transition that I did like for my birthday, like with like the song in the background. And then he reposted it and was like, happy birthday to this queen, blah blah blah. And then on my birthday, I remember I told him, I was like, hey, like, I would love to see you.
There goes the crackhead that I see each morning.
I just woke up. I don't know what's wrong with me. There's literally a plate of wow. I don't know. Okay, does anybody else sleep eat? Or is it just me? I don't know what it is that I like. I don't know what comes over me, but I wake up and I'll have like chips, plates of like pasta just next to me, and I don't remember it. Oh my god. I'm in this video now because I told myself, Dakota, get up and get ready and then end the video. But I'm just gonna end it right here because my camera, what happened last night was I meant to finish the video, right? And with my lesson, like I always do, okay? And I was gonna finish the video and then I fell asleep. And then apparently I woke up and wanted to eat. So there's that. Throughout the rest of that year, right, I would talk to someone or like get in like a relationship or something like that, and like that would be the time where he would like text me and check in and be like, hey, what's up, how are you doing, like knowing that I'm with somebody else, or like, or just to like check in to see if he like still has like that pull and stuff. And like I said, I was going through that text, like our texts, like our old ones, and there was one where it was like, well, you know that if I pull up, like you'll drop everything. So, and my I guess issue in this was that I made myself way too much of like a pick-me girl, right? In this, I was so a pick-me girl, and I'm not afraid to admit that. And here's the reason why. Taking temporary defeats and losses and turning them into opportunities and lessons is really, at the end of the day, what life is all about. A lot of people like to say like, oh my god, like I've made so many mistakes, or you've made so many mistakes, or for me, in general, like, oh my god, you've dated so many people, like how does it feel to fail at dating? And it's like, no, with every single person that I've been with, every failed relationship, every single person that's come in and out of my life, I've learned how to love myself. I've learned how to be assertive. I've learned how to set boundaries, things that I wasn't taught growing up. So these lessons had to come at some point in my life. And that's the thing that people don't understand, is like people like to like write in my comments all the time like, oh my god, girl, like you just need to love yourself and be by yourself, or oh my god, girl, like you've dated so many assholes, like you need to figure out what's going on. Like, girl, I've already done that, and I've done that because I've been with these guys. I've learned these lessons, and with every single person I take a little piece of it, and I learn to love myself that much more. Failures are life's greatest teachers. Learn to develop my gift of discernment and intuition by every single person that has come into my life. I now have so much experience and so much knowledge that I can sit here and share and help other people with. So like, if you've never been through a bad relationship, or you've never been through any of these things, great for you, girl. You learned the lessons early on, and that's fantastic. But some of us don't, okay? Some of us didn't learn certain things in childhood, so we're now learning them in our adult lives, and that's okay. But it also doesn't give you a right to judge or to say anything. A lot of people like to look at things that have happened to them and equate that to failure. But in all actuality, it's a stepping stone to get you to a firm foundation that is called your life and success, whatever that means to you. Without these temporary defeats, losses, and failure, how else are you supposed to learn things in order to get there? And that's where people honestly get it so wrong. They look at someone who's had a hard life, or they look at somebody who's made a lot of mistakes, and they like to just be like, oh, well, they're stupid, or oh, she's stupid, or oh, you know, they'll never learn their lesson. In all actuality, they've learned lessons that you can never learn in a textbook, in school, in college. I don't care how educated you are. There are lessons in life you cannot learn through a damn textbook. You gotta learn through experience. Especially if you don't know these lessons, you are not gonna have as much knowledge as that person who's been through it. Nearly as much knowledge when it comes to life and how to apply yourself. So instead of judging or being like, oh my god, like I'm just perfect and they've just made so many mistakes, and like, fuck them. Pull up a notepad, sis. Get a notepad. Start writing. Learn notes. Take notes. Because that person is going to be something one day. They're going to take all the bad things that happened to them, be telling their story of how they overcame their trials and tribulations, and it's going to be somebody else's survival guide. They're going to help people, okay? Some of us have to be the sacrificial lambs and take on all the trauma in order to transmute it to positive energy, and then come on here and tell our stories to help and heal other people. You weren't the chosen one. You weren't called to do that, and that's okay. But don't be a judgmental bitch either. At the end of the day, it's about not becoming a product of your environment. It's about being beyond the body, beyond space, beyond time, beyond your environment. And knowing that every single day you have the capability to make small changes that will then equate to a bigger picture. You're not gonna know it all in one day. And you're sure as hell not gonna get there in one day. You gotta go through life. Some days are gonna be great, some days are gonna be hard, some days are gonna be magnificent, some days you're gonna feel depressed. On all those days, you get up and you try. That's what it's really about. And I think, honest to God, that's what really separates me from a lot of other like storytime YouTubers on here. Not saying I'm like great or anything. I'm just saying that, you know, some people like to comment and they're like, oh my God, girl, I don't know how you're not at 500,000 subs, or like, I feel like you're so underrated. And I appreciate those, trust me, I appreciate those comments so much. But at the end of the day, here's the thing. I can come on here and I can spill all the tea, right? I can say how my ex left me for his cousin, right? Because that actually is a true thing. I can say, and I could title my video that, right? I could be like, oh my God, my ex left me for his cousin. Or I can come on here and I can say like, just talk so much crap about the people that used to be in my life, and I can come on here and I can do that, right? And I can make the titles like super clickbait. But at the end of the day, my goal on this channel was to come on here and tell my stories and to transmute that negative energy, turn it into something positive, and help and teach you guys. I hate to say it, but here on YouTube, nobody cares about real life topics. Everybody just wants to know the tea. Everyone wants to know like, oh, who's fucking this person, or this person's ex, blah, 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 or that person, blah, blah, blah. Like, they want messy story times. They want us to come on here and be messy and spill all the tea and to cuss and yell and scream, and that gets views, okay? I'm coming on here and I'm telling my stories in a way where it's like, hey, this is what happened, but this is what I've learned. And this is what I want to share with you guys, because a lot of things I've been through in my life are really important life lessons about trauma, sexual abuse, growing up around substance abuse, okay? Like being mentally abused in relationships. Like I come on here and I really do the damn thing when it comes to teaching, okay? And not everybody wants to see that. People want me to come on here and they want me to tell stories, and they want me to curse, and they want me to yell, and they want me to be like, men ain't shit. But in all actuality, like, I've had time to heal from a lot of these stories, and I can see it from a more mature standpoint now, because I'm a grown-ass woman. I'm 28 years old. The fuck do I look like coming on here and being messy like that? It's just not what I want to do. It's not the content I want to create. My content is to inspire and uplift. So what do I look like tearing down another person? You know what I mean? I can definitely say the bad things people have done to me 100%, but I can do it in a way where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna pray for that person, and I hope that they have a good life and they stay blessed up, because at the end of the day, we're all humans. We all make mistakes. We all fuck up. Are you kidding me? I'm not perfect. Hence my story times of me being a horrible friend and stealing my friend's man. Like, we have all made mistakes, but at one point in our life, it's excusably naive, okay? When I was in high school, and that's why I like telling my high school story times, because in those story times, I was naive, but it was excusably naive, okay? When you're young and you're a teenager, you're supposed to go through those things. I had a baby when I was 20 years old, okay? Basically 19. I was a child having a child, okay? So the mistakes that I made, the people that I dated, etc., yeah, they were 100%, you know, things that I would not do in my present day life now, but it doesn't mean I didn't do them. Why am I gonna sit here and act perfect? I'm not fucking perfect. I've definitely been a bad friend at times. I've been a bad girlfriend. I've been a bad daughter. I've been a bad mom. I have been the villain in other people's stories. I'm not perfect. But the thing is that on YouTube, people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear real. They want to hear just tea, and that's it. So I think that's why my channel a little bit doesn't get as much attention, or doesn't get as much views, and that's okay. I like to call myself the Janae Aiko of YouTube, because Janae Aiko, I'm sorry, this went into a whole entire spiel. Janae Aiko, when I first started listening to her in 2000 and 15, I was like, yo, why does this girl not have more attention? Why is she not racking up Billboard charts? Why is she not going to the you know, like VMAs and American Music Awards? Like, why is she not going to like all, like getting invited to like the Oscars and the Grammys and like all of this stuff? Like, why is she not on like national television? She's so good. And people would always tell her like, oh my god, girl, you're so underrated, you're so underrated, X, Y, and Z. And she just stayed in her lane. Because the thing about Janae is she makes real music about real life problems, okay? She's not on here saying like, I gotta break up with my every season. Like, no, she's on here being like, oh my god, like this happened to me and I lost my brother and I had a heartbreak and I had a baby. Like, she talks about real life stuff. And like I said, not everybody wants to hear about that stuff, because then it takes accountability to be like, oh shit, maybe I need to face my own shit too, because I'm not perfect. But eventually she, and that's the thing, is she stayed in her lane. She stayed in her lane. She never responded to those comments. She never agreed or disagreed. She just stayed in her lane and kept doing what she was doing. And now she's finally getting that credit that she deserves, and rightfully so, because that girl's doing the damn thing and she is such an amazing soul and pure light. And I feel like that's like honestly kind of like me. It's like I do my own thing on YouTube. I really don't watch any other. I do actually I watch like Calling for Snow. I love Sam. I love T. I watch Life with Simone. I watch Rick. Oh my god, Ricky is like literally, I think that's her name. I'm gonna link her thing in the description down below, but she is one of the best storytellers. She's my favorite. Honestly, I really just be binge watching Ricky nowadays because she's so funny, because she just sits there and like does her makeup and tells stories, and it's so fucking entertaining, and she's so like talented. Like, oh my god. So this is her channel. Hold on, let me camera focus. She is so good. Like, she's my favorite. She gets me hooked in a story. Obviously, I watch like Nikki and Alexis. I've been watching K Shine recently. She's been doing very well. I'm very proud of her. Who else? Popped by Cherry. She's literally one of my favorite YouTubers, and she just followed me recently, and I literally fangirled the fuck out. I was like, oh my god, Cherry followed me. Literally love her so much. I know I'm missing a couple, probably. Robin Banks, Jimmy P, like people like that. Like, I watch them, but like recently, honest to God, I've really just been staying in my own lane, because at one point I was kind of like self-comparing and being like, damn, like now I stay in my own lane. I come on here, I make my content, and I go. And that's how I like it to be. And I interact with you guys, and we have our own little family and our own community. And maybe one day I will sit here and I'll be like, yo, we literally reached 1 million subscribers. Thank you so much. But at the end of the day, it's not about the subscribers to me. It's about the community. I know people who have 2 million subscribers that get like 1,000 views on their videos and get 2 comments. And I'm not saying that's like a bad thing, but like for me, like I'm more about building community. I care more about my comment section than I care about views, and I care about subscribers. I care about what you guys think, what you guys want, how we can interact. I try to reply to all of my comments, all of my DMs. Like, I love you guys, because at the end of the day, you guys literally in the middle of a fucking pandemic saved my life. When I literally was like, I don't want to be here anymore, you guys saved my life. And I will always and forever be so grateful for you guys, and indebted to you guys, because you guys got me here. I didn't get me here, y'all got me here, and I care about you guys so fucking much. I wish I can give all 19,000 of you a virtual fucking hug, because I love you guys and you don't understand. And I know that sometimes I'm not the most consistent. I know that sometimes I'm not the most you know, I'm not the best content creator. I don't do things right, or I get into a depression and I let my channel go away. But at the end of the day, you guys are like, girl, it's fine, take your time, we'll be here and welcome you back with open arms. And that's what a family is, okay? That's what a family is. When they see you not on your shit, they hold you accountable, but they give you grace and compassion to go be you until you're okay again. So moral of this story is like, don't be a pick-me girl. I definitely was that girl that I was like, oh my god, like, you know, forget her. Hello, you have everything you need over here, come pick me. And I invested so much time, effort, and energy into somebody who honestly really didn't deserve it, because at the end of the day, I was an option. I wasn't a priority. And when a man wants you, he's gonna want you. You're not gonna have to beg. You're not gonna have to wait. You're not gonna have to wonder. He's not gonna leave you in that limbo or that confused state. He's going to claim you, and he's going to want you, because he's not gonna want anybody else to come up and scoop you or grab you. And I realized in this state of time, I really had no self-worth. I really had no self-love. I really had no, I didn't love myself, and I really didn't care about myself either, because the red flags were there, okay? And red flags will always be there. It doesn't matter what color you try to fucking paint them. The reason why the relationship ends is the way that it begins. Like in the beginning, I saw that he was wishy-washy. I saw that he was trying to text me and, you know, butter me up like a Popeye's biscuit. And even though he was basically with that girl, like there were so many warnings, so many red flags. I'm so grateful because, like I said, I love him, I loved his family, and I love the lessons that I learned. And I love that I can sit here now and I have a platform where I can share these experiences to hopefully help somebody else, that if you're in a situation or if you're in this with somebody where it's like they keep you in limbo or it's up and down, or they give you like enough to get fed but never fulfilled, to get out, because it's not worth it. You deserve to be in a happy, healthy, wholesome relationship where somebody wakes up every day and chooses you, and you are a priority. You are the pink starburst. You're not the yellow starburst. You're not the red starburst. You're the motherfucking pink starburst, and you need to own that and embody that, period. Because at the end of the day, girls, we have the power. Women have the fucking power. We do. And the minute that we realize that is the day that we're gonna leave all of these men who have this like Peter Pan syndrome of not wanting to grow up or have these mommy issues. Their whole worlds are gonna be rocked when they run into a girl who realizes that she has the fucking power, right? And men for so long have wanted to suppress that because they know that if we end up figuring that out and that we actually embody that and carry it out, that it's over for them. So let's start doing that. Like, really, let's start doing that. It's not, they don't have the power. We have the fucking power. I learned a lot from this. I definitely was a pick-me girl. I've learned to love myself, to not do that stupid-ass social media stalking shit, because I'm telling you right now, it doesn't help. I have so many friends who, when their baby fathers or their exes or whatever the case may be, break up with them, they will stalk the new girl's Instagram. I literally was hanging out with my friends one day. It was like a year or two ago, and we all got out of relationships, and we were sitting there and we were just like stalking all fucking day in a little fucking kumbaya circle. And I look back at that now and I'm like, yo, that's so unhealthy. That's not okay. Like, don't do that. I did it so you don't have to. Where your intentions go, energy flows, okay? Emotions are energy in motion. So you're literally taking your energy and your intentions and you're stalking the new girl, right? Or you're stalking your ex. You're putting all of your energy and your power into them and into people who don't do shit for you and who, quite frankly, don't give a fuck about you, right? And instead of taking that energy and harnessing it and putting it into yourself and investing in yourself and loving yourself, you're giving it away to everybody else. So today, call your power back, okay? The affirmation, I now call back my power, for everyone who's been using it and taking it without consent, is the most powerful thing. When you call back your power and your energy, you'll become the most powerful person on this planet, because that is where your power lies, is within your energy and within you calling it back. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you were ever like this or in a situation like this. Remember when I said that I found out that they were on Twitter, like he ended up adding her on Twitter, and in my mind I'm like, you don't just go from unfollowing someone and hating them to following them again. There had to have been like a conversation. He swears that they never talked, that he just added her and she added him back. Do you guys think there was a conversation in between? She did have a boyfriend at that time, but that don't be stopping, girls. So do you guys think that we ended because maybe they started talking again or something? What do you guys think about that? Let me know down below, because to this day I still don't have clarity and I still have no fucking idea. Don't forget to also subscribe to my podcast. It's called Sis Let's Heal. It's on Spotify, Apple, Google, every single streaming platform that you could possibly think of. The next story time will be a daycare story time, because I had a wedding to go to and I had to see some of those people and I just wanted to wait a little bit. So it's gonna be the next one. Love you guys so much. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Well, I guess that's what happens. Two fools be falling in love, mixing some pain and some passion.